Are you looking to save space in Airtable? If so, I may actually have a solution for you. Welcome back. My name is Tom. If you're new to this channel, thank you for dropping by. What I cover here are tips and tricks as a freelance independent consultant, and one of the tools I use quite often is Airtable. With that said, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Now, we all know that Airtable have different subscription at different price points. It also has different limitations and feature sets. In the free account, you're limited to 1,200 records per base. The plus account, you got 5,000 records, and the pro account comes with 50,000 records. But at the end of the day, they all have their limitations. And what I'm going to show you is going to be a way to work around that to free up space on a base that you want to keep intact and that you want to reuse time and time again without having the need to upgrade to the next level. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into my example base here. And what I'm showing here is a sample base of a coaching system where we have coaches assigned to students. Let's say over the course of the year, you have nearly reached your maximum number of records. And now you want to start over. So in this case here, the process is you want to archive, keep the records, if that's what you want to do, and not lose it, let's say from the previous year. But you have some records that are still active, still in motion, that you want to carry over to the following year. It's hard to kind of continue that path, right? Because you're maxed out. So this is a way to avoid that and continue using the base. So what you need to do first is, what I do here is rename this to like the prior year, say it's 2020, and let's say you want to duplicate this base. You're gonna duplicate it, and then let's assume I do it, and then now you will change the new duplicated base to 2021. Now what we've done here is that now the 2020 version has all your historical data. Now the 2021 version is duplicative, but we want to clean it up to free up space. And what I want to do here is show you that I have this special field called archive, and I'll walk through how we actually can build this. Is that it's a flag, and it's going to be based on the date. So what I have here is an archive flag that flags each record, and then as you notice, I created these 4 additional records that are more up to date. As you notice, there is no flag there to archive it. Now the formula for this flag is quite simple. It's an if statement that looks at the difference in time, use a date-time difference formula, where it looks at today's date and the field date, in this case here, date, and it's going to be based on days. So we're looking at an evaluation of greater than or equal to 30 days by comparing today's date and the date that is in this field, the date field. And if it does meet that condition, we flag it to yes, which is what you see here. And by doing so, it allows us to safely delete these records, knowing that these are the ones we can safely delete that we don't really care for anymore for the current year. Now, your existing records from 2020, they're still there. They're in another base. What we're doing is duplicating it. It becomes an archive, right? So by doing this, I can actually create views. And I already created a view called All Coaching Calls Archive. This should only show all the archive records. And what makes it really easy is I can select all, right click, and delete all selected records, and everything will, and the only ones that will remain are the 4 records I've created. So if I go ahead and delete this, and it wipes it clean, this is a dedicated view for archives. If I go back to all calls, no filter, it only remains with 4 records. Now, if I hit Control Z to undo that action, you can immediately see how it rebuilds all those records in this current view with all calls, no filter. So how do we build this? So we want to make sure you create a field called archive with this formula. Once again, I'll show that, right? Where we take the difference in today's date and the date field, whichever that may be for you, and then you can set your criteria. It could be greater than or equal to 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, whatever you like, and you just set the flag. And then you will create a view. If I go to the view, archive view, And then you have this filter where I have where archive is yes. And that's it. This could be the view where you delete all the records safely, right? Where you don't have to worry about maintaining it all throughout the year. This could be something you do every quarter or at the end of the year. It gives a very clean view. Now, the other thing that I would like to mention that could help is that let's say you don't want to archive everything that is still not completed. In this case, I have a status field. And right now, everything that is based on date is being set to be archived. But let's say you don't want to archive things that are still pending, not completed. So you simply update this formula to add another if condition. So if I say if the status equals completed, then you'll look at the formula. So that means if it's completed, I want to then set this condition to yes. If I hit save, and then you immediately notice that I have these other statuses, canceled, rescheduled, and scheduled, that are older. They do not have the flag. Now if I switch this canceled to completed, you can immediately see where the archive flag populates. So let me go and flip that back to cancel. And that way, if you're in a situation where you only want to archive and delete things that are officially completed and not in pending status, this is one way to do it, to update this formula to include that additional if condition to evaluate that field. So that is pretty much it. This should save you a whole bunch of space and only leave the ones that are relevant, that you want to reuse, and the fact that you don't lose your previous data from the previous year because you archived another base itself. So that's the workaround. Now the only way this will not work if the amount of pending records that you're carrying over is already exceeding the max limit. That is the only caveat to this process. But let's assume that you have less than 1,200 records, and then you can safely migrate or archive the data and delete it to still leverage the entire space of 1,200 records for a free account, then you're good to go. And that's the same with all the other tiers. All right, that is all. That is it. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as usual, comment below if there's any other questions or anything that you would like to see in future videos. All right. Other than that, you guys have a good one, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.